Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, so I'm glad that you're not totally dead, but I'm sorry to see that you're sick.
It's all good.
Episode of Boy Howdy. And now, broadcasting, woohoo!
Woohoo!
Sex time. So yeah, this will work out fine. Yeah, just one of those things. If we were starting at 11, I'd be fucked.
Sure.
Let's see.
We'll
Okay, so I am. Okay. I just want to set my microphone up. Okay, if you want to do the countdown clap or countdown to starting recording, and then we'll do the countdown clap sync thing, and then we'll start.
Sure.
For you.
Sounds good. All
Okay.
right, then on 3, we'll start recording.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Cool. And yell some.
Jibber jabber. Quant-to-do-to-do.
Oh, okay, cool. And I guess this is actually the show.
And you immediately started fuzzing. No, I think we realized last week that it was these shitty headphones, and I'm using them again. So
hopefully.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Never
Actually,
mind.
You know what? Just to make sure, I'm gonna
let me. As I recall, I plugged this into the back of my device. So hold on just a second. Let me do that. Let me switch that before you do anything. Because I remember we went through this before. And I gotta change the output.
Up. Wait, hold on, Annie. I'm gonna yell something real quick just to make sure. See
Okay.
How I sound.
Yeah, you're good. You're crystal clear. Yeah, it's just my headphone jack for my Yeti mic is being weird. All right. Okay, we're good.
Okay, I do sound fine.
Yeah, I switched the head. It's just a headphone jack on my Yeti mic.
Okay, no, I just wanted to make sure. Oh, you can plug the jack right into the mic?
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't have a Snowball. I have the Yeti, which is the
big fat silver Yeti. Yeah.
The big Mama Jamma.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Are you ready to do the thing, my friend?
We're ready to do the thing.
Okay.
I am recording. Okay, that's the most important thing. So everything else can rest into you. Okay.
Hey everybody, welcome to 2016. This is the Boy Hattie podcast, where we yell about pop culture garbage. I'm Annie.
I'm Bill.
And Bill, how did your 2015 wrap up, my friend?
Man, my 2015 wrapped up super chill. I just on New Year's Eve proper, what the hell did I do? I hung out with some friends. Joshin made a bunch of sukiyaki, teriyaki chicken, handmade gyoza. I hung out with an older lady with giant breasts while my gay friend fondled those giant breasts, as seems to be the tradition on every New Year's Eve with this gang. And there was an elderly French lady wearing reindeer bells who clattered around, and then we played Cards Against Humanity, and it was a pretty cool night. It was a good time.
Well, I'm glad you had a good one, my friend.
Yeah. Well, how was your New Year's Eve?
We have a habit of being in bed by 10 o'clock, and I really like it. I have to say, it's pretty damn good.
So were you asleep by the time midnight hit?
Oh, hell yes.
I don't think I've actually been asleep for New Year's since I was like 5. Because even as a little kid, my parents would we'd go over to friends, like friends of the family house, and I would play with other kids, and we would still, it was a treat to stay up until like 1 a.m.
Sure,
and,
yeah.
I know a bunch of people who were asleep by the time the ball dropped. Well, see, everyone I know, we're always up at midnight anyway, so like staying up for midnight for New Year's Eve wasn't much of a trick. But yeah, no, it's cool. We host a whole bunch of people who come over here. We have a good time. So.
Well, I had to be in bed at a decent hour so that I could be up bright and early to go to the Lego store January 1st and pick up all the new Lego sets.
Well, so you got you got a couple sets.
Yeah, so I went out. January 1st is when LEGO releases a lot of they released a shit ton of stuff this year. But the main event and what most of the nerds are there for, or the next release in the modular series, which is they have different buildings in like a city block. Mm-hmm. So I went out and picked up the Brick Bank, which fully is, as we speak, finishing up construction.
Damn, okay.
Yeah. And we picked up, Bill, the ridiculous LEGO Ghostbusters Firehouse.
Which I wasn't. Oh, I've been for the last week. I've been debating as to whether or not I should pick it up because it's looks like an awesome set, but also costs $350, which
Yeah.
is like that's a big chunk of like rent money. So I was like, oh man, and like, but I was like, well, you know what? The thing that tipped me over was was like looking at the what the leaked lists for Lego stuff that's coming out for like the next 6 months. There's just it doesn't seem like I'm gonna be tempted by anything else anytime soon.
Yeah.
So and unless they have some kind of crazy, they'll probably have big crazy Christmas set I'll want by the end of the year.
Sure.
But at least I should be relatively in the clear for at least the next 6 months. Which is funny because like it feels like I've developed a legitimate Lego habit when I'm like, okay, well this is the one big stupid Lego thing I'm probably only gonna need to buy for the next 6 months. I don't know what about Christmas, but for now
Yeah.
I should be okay.
Well, the Lego set that I enjoyed the most that we picked up was actually pretty surprising. If you
Mhm.
like Lego even a little bit, one of the they have the creator series and they have a bunch of sets that they call their 3-in-1 sets because there are 3 different ways to build it. They have 3 different sets of instructions. And there's one of those called the Lakeside Lodge, which is one of the cutest and most pleasant Lego sets I've put together in a while. I really
Yeah.
like it.
So
Highly
which
recommend it.
configuration did you build it up in?
I like the one that was on the cover, so I did
Okay,
the
with the
default one.
moose.
Yeah, well, they all have the moose. That's what really sold
I
me on
know
this
the
set.
moose is always sad. It's not like the moose turns into a chicken or a car, but yeah.
I really, yeah, it comes with you can build a moose out of parts, which is part of what sold me on it.
Man, that is so cool. So it turns into a lakeside cabin. What are the other 2 things? Just different versions of the same cabin?
Yeah, they're just other little cabins.
Yeah, because like a friend of the podcast, Daniel Rudis, he got me the changing seasons set, which turns and there's a fall, winter, and spring/summer configuration. Which actually I need to change because it's still in its autumn configuration. And as we speak right now, I need to change it to winter because as we speak, Portland's getting its first snowfall of the year. So today would be actually, you know what, that may be actually a fun way. As soon as we're done broadcasting, I'm supposed to go out to the fanciest theater I've ever been to in my life to go see Star Wars again. And once that's done, maybe I'll come back and I'll tromp through the crisp our Oregon snow and rebuild that little set into its winter configuration. I'll make some hot chocolate, all cocoa, warm and fuzzy. Always so good.
Yeah, I got to say that one of the best parts about this is our second year going to Lego Store on January 1st.
It's officially a tradition now.
And but I gotta say, what's really cute is that Lego fans are just kind of charming.
Yeah.
Like it's a 50-50 mix of women and men, which I always enjoy. And there were a group of older ladies who ranged from their late 60s to early 70s in front of us,
Yeah.
who were talking really feverishly about what they planned on buying today. It was just all really charming. Really
Were they
charming.
getting
I
the
mean, a
Lego
friend
for
of mine-
themselves?
Oh yeah. Oh hell
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
There were like maybe 20 children there, but it was mostly adults.
Oh man, yeah. That's the other thing. So I was debating whether or not to get this giant Ghostbusters firehouse, and then the thing that pushed me over into finally pulling the trigger was like, yeah, that on New Year's Eve, Annie's like, well, I'm getting up at 10 a.m. to go to the Lego store. Can I pick you up a firehouse? And I was like, oh, there's no way they're gonna have that in stock. They're gonna have like three Lego. They're gonna have 3 copies of that thing. And it'll be claimed before you show up. And she's like, Annie's all like, no, they're gonna have like tons. Don't worry. And they did.
had pallets and pallets and pallets.
Yeah. And so I was like, well, and then even then I was like, well, if they happen to have one in stock, but still kind of thinking that you weren't gonna get one. And then you showed up like 2 hours later, like, here, motherfucker, here's your fucking 40 pounds of plastic.
Yeah, it's the 3rd largest Lego set they've ever put out. So good luck with that, buddy.
I wonder how expensive, because what the 2 biggest were like what the Taj Mahal and the London Bridge.
London Bridge.
I
Yeah.
wonder how expensive those things were, because those were the first 2 biggest retail sets, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and that Taj Mahal set is fucking huge. That must have been like
Yeah.
at least like $500, and this, yeah, shit. It's crazy to think this is bigger than the Lego Star Destroyer, which,
Yeah.
fuck, man, that's
Yeah.
that. Anyway, so
Anyway, friends, this is what has been our semi-monthly Lego corner on the Boy Howdy podcast.
how was your Christmas, Annie? Because we haven't talked since Christmas either.
It was a really good holiday. We flew down to Texas and surprised my mom. And she jumped about 3 feet in the air and shouted a string of expletives and burst into tears.
She really had no idea you guys were going to show up.
Yeah, we managed to keep it surprised because her birthday is on the 19th.
Yeah.
So, and my sister threw a surprise party for her birthday. So my mom thought that she was a lot of surprises until she walked around the corner and saw us sitting in my sister's living room. And
okay, you guys didn't jump out of a cake or anything like that.
No. We thought about all sorts of ways to do it, but
exactly. That was nice to have her just turn the corner and go.
Yeah, it was really good. But one of my favorite things about going home to Texas, beyond obviously seeing my favorite favorite people on earth to whom I'm related by blood, it's to my hometown of Fort Worth, Texas has a lot of really good museums, all within a 1 mile radius. That we have an amazing museum called the Amon Carter, which has a beautiful collection of works of American art. There's the Kimball Art Museum, which has classical art, and then there's the Modern, which has modern art. And we went and did the trifecta, and went to the Kimball where they had a I'm gonna mispronounce his name, Calibat show. I know him. He did this beautiful piece I've always loved called the Wood Scrapers, or excuse me, the Floor Scrapers, I believe, which are these 3 men scraping a floor and part of refinishing.
I've seen that before, yeah.
Yeah, what's interesting is that I was reading the copy. They had that on display, and I was reading the copy of it, and he was criticized because it was like, if you're gonna do nudes, do beautiful nudes. Don't do normal people. And he was basically like, fuck you.
Yeah.
It was really interesting because he was rich. He had money. So it was interesting to see someone who was kind of in with the Impressionists, inspired by them and doing all that, but didn't have to worry about doing commercial art. Yeah. Where he was just doing the subjects he wanted and doing weird shit with perspective if he wanted to, doing weird shit with color and composition.
Yeah, that's really nice. He wasn't beholden to a patron or anything like that. Yeah,
exactly, which was really, really interesting. But the show, and I enjoyed that show, but the show that blasted that out of the water was at the Modern Art Museum. There was an exhibition by a gentleman named Kehinde Wiley. And Bill, I actually got you a book of postcards of his work because you would really enjoy it.
That stuff looked pretty cool.
It was cool as shit. This guy is I highly recommend Googling him and looking at his work. His whole thing is that he does huge, and when I say huge, I mean like 6 to 9 foot by 10 to 12 foot oil portraits of persons of color. Like he'll go out to, like he did all these series where he went to Brazil and he went to various countries in Africa, and he went, he goes to these places. He'll find subjects on the street in their street clothes, and he'll go back and photograph them, and he'll pose them based on and inspired by works of either classical works of art or classical photography or classic portraiture. So it's elusive of all of these, very structured, very regimented, kind of either religious or, that sort of art. But it's just these normal people, their normal clothes. And his whole thing is that he's like, when you're African American, when you see that sort of art with that sort of context, at best, we're slaves in the background, or, we're servants. And he's like, I wanted to depict people of color with dignity. And with the same, so people could see themselves in these works of art where they're kind of, it's very triumphant and proud. Yeah. And it was one of the most moving and impressive shows I've ever seen. That pitch sounds like it could be kitschy, and it could be like ironic or something, but instead
can't be kitschy because he's done a lot of portraits. It seems like he's been commissioned by a bunch of like rap artists and stuff. Like he's done portraits like Ice-T and Biggie Smalls and stuff like that. And that stuff kind of does veer towards kitschy when you've got Ice-T like dressed like a king, but like
there was a piece there that was like 15 feet by 10 feet that was Michael Jackson as Napoleon.
Yeah, that's one of the things I'm looking at right now too. Which that's fucking crazy. Yeah,
but it's not ironic. Like Michael Jackson is like a being of importance,
Well,
it's like
the Michael Jackson thing as a white guy viewer skews a little more towards ironic for me because Michael Jackson actually kind of dressed like that sometimes in real life, whereas the other stuff where you actually have like real people in actual street clothes like painted like that I think that's a little more interesting than the Michael Jackson thing. But yeah, that's cool that it was there, and the sheer size of that sounds bonkers too.
Yeah, and in this guy
statement.
And this guy designs the frames too, and like he had some cast bronze pieces in there that made me lose my
Well,
shit.
it sounds
And
like
the
it does. Yeah.
coolest pieces in there, in my opinion, were he actually did a series of stained glass windows, like
Mm,
classic stained glass windows that were depicting these African American dudes in their clothes as like various Christian martyrs and saints. And it was just cool as shit. It was cool as shit. It was one of the coolest shows I've ever seen in my life. I can't, like, his skill is so astonishing. Like, dude has chops. And like just the scale of it was so overwhelming, and seeing all his work together in mass was so impactful. Like, it was, if you are anywhere within 5 hours drive of this tour as it tours by, highly recommend going to it. It's coming to Seattle, and I'm gonna
yeah.
go see it again.
It's funny how interesting it can be because like he plays with form a lot too. With like, yeah. So like you're saying, like he'll have a giant painting that'll be huge with like a super fancy, ritzy, what you would think would be some kind of like fancy art museum frame, and it's interesting too because he'll have his black subjects in like classical pose, but then also the background sometimes instead of having a normal background, will have some. Sometimes it'll be kind of crazy, popped out punk psychedelic stuff, or sometimes it will be classical with like little flowers and stuff. Like he's got one painting of it's just a black guy in normal clothes, like street clothes, just kind of reclined on this couch, but like everything about it is like a classical painting, except the subject is just like a normal human being, not some kind of like Rubenesque fertility goddess from like 1655.
Yeah,
And that's really
apparently,
cool.
my
Yeah.
mom told me that he was a fabric designer. Like, he would design fabric
Yeah,
patterns.
he seems to be really into pattern and color and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's cool is that his process was he'd photograph a subject, and he'd be, talking to them and trying to get the right pose and everything like that.
Yeah.
Take it back to his studio, he would paint the subject first, and then he would paint this crazy background around them. That's usually like this sort of insane repeating pattern. But what I think is interesting is that he would put his subject within the pattern. Like, the pattern would be curling up around them
Yeah.
as often as not. And like, it's just, and like, and you would have like this very classically rendered oil portrait where you can like all perfectly captures all the hues and colors of human skin. And then you'll have this really like stark flat like pattern, like maybe a floral pattern.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, kind of
like
the flatness and the roundness
scale.
would contrast against each other. Yeah.
One of the coolest shows I've ever been to in my life.
Yeah, he's got
Holy
a
shit.
giant painting of LL Cool J. Holy shit! If I had a mansion, fuck.
The
I'm sure
cool,
that's probably hanging in LL Cool J's mansion right now. But that's fucking yeah. It looks like his artwork shows up a whole bunch in Empire, the TV show Empire and stuff, and that's pretty crazy.
one of the coolest exhibitions I've ever been to in my life.
Yeah, not just cool because it can also be a little condescending, be like, oh, it's a black guy painting black people, but presenting it's like it's white people. It's actually more interesting than just like, this is.
Oh shit,
Yeah.
Bill. My garage band just had a conniption fit.
No, it's fine. Well, I can pull audio off the. It started up and back again, and I can patch it with audio from the YouTube stream. It's no problem.
Okay.
Yeah, fire it up and start recording it, but it's no problem.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll keep on recording as you try to get the Millennium Falcon working back on its feet again.
Seriously. Anyway, so yeah, that was my Christmas, Bill. How was yours?
Oh man, my Christmas. What did I do for Christmas? Oh, I went to go see The Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
It was great because I woke up in the morning. So sad because there was no snow, but now we have snow today, which makes me so happy. Yeah, exchanged some gifts with the housemates, and then I went out to see The Hateful Eight, which you have not seen yet, right?
I have not. I tried to go see it this weekend, but Quentin Tarantino showed up at the showing here in town, actually, as my plane was landing.
Oh, yeah?
So it got a lot of attention on the Hollywood Theater here in town, which has a really good 70mm projection system.
Yeah.
And like, they actually invested a lot of time and money in it and have projectionists to know what they're doing. So Quentin showed up, and all of Portland learned about going, and every showing I've tried to go to has been sold out.
Are people hoping he might come back?
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
He's just hiding under the seats, be like he can show up at any time.
Seriously.
Yeah. So I guess the owner of the Hollywood Theater, the owner of the Hollywood Theater here in town in Portland. I guess he's not like super tight with Quentin Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino. It's not like they grew up in school or anything like that. But it sounds like they were directly communicating and stuff in order to get like all the equipment ready for the Hateful Eight stuff. And it is interesting that Tarantino chose Portland to be the first place to start his tour of kind of a select handful of the theaters that are showing the Hateful Eight 70mm presentation. And man, I did not care much for the movie itself. It's not bad, but it's on like the Tarantino scale of things. I wasn't super impressed. But the presentation itself, it's as predictably crazy as you would think it was. I can't. According to the Hollywood Theater, they are saying that they do have the largest 70mm theater in the country. They're bragging about that. And that screen is big enough I can almost believe them. I'm kind of surprised this would be the biggest 70mm screen outside of LA, or including LA. But it's really cool. And the sound system, it's rare to have a second run indie movie house that has a sound system that is as aggressively loud.
Second run indie movie house. Fuck yourself.
Well, that's what it is. That's what it is.
That is not a second run indie movie house.
I saw
in the last one,
I've seen the last two movies I saw at the Hollywood Theater were The Empire Strikes Back, second run, and Hateful Eight.
What? You didn't see a first run Empire Strikes Back there last week?
I guess maybe I could if I had time machine.
Oh,
no, but it is. That's what it is. I'm not disparaging it, but it's not a big first run multiplex. But the sound quality there is first run multiplex quality sound, loud enough that I've heard other people talk about how when they went to go see the Hateful Eight, people were covering their ears throughout the whole movie because it's so nice and loud. And with a Tarantino movie, you want that because, the huge gunshots and stuff like that. But yeah, the presentation was great. The soundtrack of the Hateful Eight is amazing. With the 70mm Roadshow, you get a whole 12-minute opening. No, it's like a 3-minute overture, which is fucking great. It's music by Ennio Morricone. It's one of my favorite film scores of all time now. It's fucking amazing. Especially for the opening overture, because you go in there and it's the super huge, super wide screen. In the overture, they play this blood red graphic that's just a picture of a stagecoach with a bunch of mountains behind it. And it's just a very stark, it's mostly blood red with a little bit of white to define what the stagecoach and the mountaintops are. And the music comes up and it's this super just kind of like nauseating, kind of rhythmic music that just rises, and you got this big blood red screen, and that itself set the tone for the movie better than kind of the movie set the tone for itself. And there's a whole intermission, and just you get your little program that talks about the making of the movie, and the programs that they hand out for the Roadshow version have a centerfold of a random character from the movie. So at intermission, everyone was comparing who they got, and which is great because by the halfway through the movie, you've already got favorite characters and stuff like that. So people were like, "Can I trade? I really like Jennifer Jason Leigh. I got Tim Roth. I'll trade you a Tim Roth for Jennifer Jason Leigh," and stuff like that. It was cute. So that was a really fun Christmas Day. Walked out of the theater. News crews were filming and interviewing people walking out of the theater.
Yeah, that's one of those things that, regardless of how you feel about the film, it's more of an experience as much as.
And again, it's not a bad movie. Except I was expecting a little bit more. I think it's one of Tarantino's lesser. It's not terrible. It's just kind of flat. Especially for being 3 hours long.
I'm kind of curious. Honestly, your disinterest in it makes me feel curious about it, because your favorite Tarantino is Django and your least favorite is Death Proof, and for me that's swapped. So I'm curious.
Really? You don't like Django?
Fuck Django. No.
Why fuck Django?
Django is boring.
Oh, Django's fucking amazing.
I found Django.
Man, hey, you know what? Inglourious Bastards is the bar scene from Inglourious Bastards, except padded out to 3 hours long, which is because that bar scene in Inglourious Bastards is one of the best things Tarantino's ever done. But that does not hold up to
for 3 hours.
I'll be curious to see what your take on it is.
Yeah, no,
it's not bad. It's not bad. I have very specific issues with that movie that'll be interesting.
I can understand that.
About maybe next week.
Well, I will tell you that my big apprehension about Hateful Eight, and if we were not in a town with a 70mm thing doing it right, I probably would wait for a home video, is just that it's a movie in a room with 8 people. Only one of them is a woman, and she's silent.
Oh, and people have complained about the gender issues in that movie.
Yeah.
To me, everyone in that movie is so much of an asshole. The gender of anyone really doesn't matter so much. But
That's really easy for you to say as a white dude.
I know. I'm just
saying.
saying. Well, yeah. Yeah.
So, but it's harder for
yeah,
me
I can
to
preface that with
figure
everything.
out.
I should just have a shirt that says I'm a white guy. Don't ignore what I'm about to say, but here's my opinion about this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just like that's hard. The older I get, the harder that is for me.
You're not gonna like that movie then. I
Yeah.
can say it now. I'll be actually surprised if you come out of that movie digging that thing then.
Yeah. So that's
It's
kind
not
of
like her situation improves in that movie as it goes on.
that's the hill that movie has to climb for me. So
Yeah.
I'll be curious. So anyway, other than that, what'd you get up to this week, my friend?
And what else did I do? It's a good thing we take notes about this stuff. Speaking of movie stuff, I saw Carol, which I can't talk about because you haven't seen it yet. Have you read the book that's based off of?
I have. I did a podcast with friends of the podcast, Brenna Zadan and Conley Smith, called The Ladylike Book Club, and where we did lesbian romance novels. And actually, our last book that we did was The Price of Salt, that Carol's based on.
I need to go back to listen to that to see how your guys' take on the book compares to what I think about the movie.
We're gonna go and see the movie together, and then record a special episode of Ladylike where we talk about it.
You're doing that today, right?
Possibly. I have a cold and it's snowing, so I gotta talk with the ladies.
Because I would love to hear again. I would love to actually go back and listen not only to that first podcast, but see what you guys think about the actual movie. Again, here's Bill showing up with, "Hey, I'm a straight white male. Here's my opinion." Shirt. I thought the movie was good, but I thought the younger lady in the movie was not that interesting. I thought she was just kind of a bland cipher, whereas Cate Blanchett was super fucking awesome. But the movie's still good. But like Mirror by Night. She almost strangled me on Twitter when I was like, blah blah blah. Here's my opinion. She's like, "Fuck you, man."
Well, if it's anything like the book, in the book, Therese is a really unlikable asshole.
She's not unlikable. That's the thing. Yeah. Go ahead.
And the book is all about the female gaze, and it's like her being enamored of Carol. Yeah. And like that kind of infatuation, but it's a different kind of infatuation because A, it's something she's never navigated before. B, there's also kind of like a history of like there is like a thing where an older lesbian kind of guides a younger person into homosexuality. Like, there's like that's a whole thing. I mean, I wouldn't call it a trope because that would imply that there's media that talks about it. It's more like a thing.
Oh, very good. Okay, yeah.
It's more like a thing that happens in the world. And so it's like the whole, if this movie gets the book right, it's Therese is kind of like the guiding is essentially the Harry Potter, except the magical world is homosexuality, and like it should be about you falling in love with Carol even though she's really complicated and not necessarily like in a place to be likable or lovable, but just like that in the inevitability of those feelings and how that helps Therese get through it. I don't know. I'm really curious about it because
it was interesting talking to, because Mirabai and I, we on Twitter, we were talking about this. We were tweeting back and forth to each other about this for about an hour the day after I saw the movie, and one of the things we actually figured out was, aside from the fact that she's a queer lady who has obviously going to have a different perspective on Carol than I did. Also, there was also a little bit of an age thing because from my perspective, being a 40-year-old person, I kind of viewed the movie through Carol's eyes more than I did Therese's. And so I think that kind of helped. That kind of added to my disconnection to Therese as a character, where I thought she was kind of just like not an uninteresting cipher, but she just seemed to be kind of like more of just a generic stand-in for like, hi, I'm kind of a young girl who's not even questioning her sexuality, but someone who hasn't really thought about it much beyond just kind of like accepting what society's given her. And like, of course it does the thing where Carol's like the first time she's really questioned any of that, which seemed kind of like, I don't want to say a stereotype or anything like that. Well, you'll have to. We can talk more about the movie once you've seen it. Or you know what? Instead of me talking about it with you, I will hear your opinion and then shut up and let you have your opinion and enjoy it. I will say,
Bill, you are talking to someone who identified as straight until they met someone.
I know exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I identify as someone who was straight until I saw Kate Blanchett in a movie, and then I was like, I'm Kate Blanchett.
You're a catasexual. Yeah.
That's the other thing. So I'm kind of skewed towards that anyway. So
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a big indicator of what the movie is trying to do, in that they made one major change from the book to the movie, which is in the book, Therese is a set designer.
Yeah.
And I think that's a little obtuse maybe to some people. It's hard to relate to that and to relate to what the difficulty is in doing that. But more than anything else, I liked the idea that literally what she does is build worlds for pretend people to live pretend lives in.
Yeah, that's not very cinematic to bring across.
Exactly. But I thought it was interesting and kind of obvious, but also obvious and not necessarily a bad way, that they changed her to a photographer. That you can literally have her, like, it's all about her eye on Carol, you know?
Oh no, that's exactly what they do with that. Which actually, I thought that was one of the things that was not very interesting, because like her just being a character, that just seems like I've seen that in so many romance movies where someone is like the other person becomes their muse a little bit, and it just seemed a little. It would have been more interesting if she was pretty much anything but a photographer.
You got it. Okay. We live in the world in America where gay marriage is legal, but we also live in a world where there is you probably haven't seen it because you're not on Queer Tumblr, but there's a Tumblr post floating around where literally this person went to an afternoon screening of Carol that was pretty much entirely filled with retirees.
Yeah.
And halfway through the screening, this woman turns to her husband and says, "Harold, they're lesbians." So I'm just.
Oh no!
What I'm saying is that we live in a world where there are some things that
I know
seem obvious and transparent, but it's baby steps.
You know more. You've been a victim of this more than anyone else on the whole planet. But also, even age and gender and queer and not queer and social stuff aside, also Bill Mudrin has his own truckload of whatever the fuck my opinions are. I beep up with, like, I start beeping when I back that truck up, and it's just gonna cause a mess, and I can't even control it. So,
man, Speaking of queer media that I found so obnoxious that I can't actually even digest it.
Yeah. Flames on the side of your face.
Oh man, I finished Life is Strange over the last couple of days.
Is it strange?
I would talk about this on the podcast. I had issues with Life is Strange. The part that actually made me quit was a little bit into episode 4. Your best friend asks you if you would help them commit suicide, and I was like, fuck this. As someone who was a teenager who dealt with suicidal impulses, I'm like, I don't really need to do this for fun, thanks. I've also talked about how the dialogue in this game is just reprehensible, and playing these episodes, and there's a part in episode 5 where you kind of get a recap of the series, kind of made me realize how I felt about it. The Life is Strange is fascinating because it is a game that's pandering to its audience, and being catered to is not bad. That's what most media is. Most media is directed to an audience.
Yeah,
but there's a certain kind of pandering where it's like someone who is not of a thing trying to make something for a thing that is just offensive, and they don't know because they're trying something. They're trying to be earnest. They're trying to be kind. They're like, here, I made this for you. And have no consciousness of how like totally off the mark it is. It's kind of like if you got really into photography, like really high end photography, you're saving up for that Canon that you really want. You're really into DSLR, and you go home for Christmas and your uncle who barely knows you heard you got into photography. And so they got you like a fucking, a 10-pack of one-use disposal cameras.
Oh,
it's like, here you go. You like this. That's not a good example. That's not a good metaphor. But it's
but I get it. Where someone tries, but like it's almost like as if they may as well not have even tried for what the ultimate output is. But you appreciate what they were trying to go for, but it's ultimately useless to the cause that they're trying to help.
I mean, I know there are a lot of people who really enjoyed Life is Strange and who could get past the writing and the characterization. I did. I finally beat it this weekend. And I will say, the last episode almost redeemed the whole series for me. Except beyond just like that sort of characterization that feels kind of lazy and condescending throughout the series. The voice, like the literal dialogue they have these teenage girls say, it feels so like an out of touch like
That's why I couldn't get past the
dude.
first chapter, because it was like watching a bunch of space aliens play dress up as teenage girls.
That does improve as the series goes on, but not enough.
Yeah.
But they add an element in episode 4, and this is going to be a big spoiler for Life is Strange. One of the mysteries of the game is that there are women going missing, and your best friend Chloe, her very dear friend, perhaps even romantic interest, has gone missing before the events of the game, and there's like this undercurrent of you're investigating that. Well, you find out what happened to her, and in my game, I'm not sure if this was unique or if this was due to my decisions, you and another girl get kidnapped and taken by one of your teachers, who it turns out is drugging and kidnapping women so that he can photograph them. And his whole thing is that he wants to capture the moment when innocence is lost, when the world goes from black and white to shades of gray.
Isn't that the moment where they get kidnapped by a crazy school teacher?
That, fortunately, I will say this, fortunately, that is what the game does. They don't take it explicitly to a sexual assault place. The implication is that he merely kidnaps them, drugs them, photographs them, and then kills them. That, I will say, thank you, Life is Strange, for not making me endure what you think an experience of sexual assault is. But don't, that
He only kills them.
When you are playing with the trope of an older man in power abusing younger women in his sway, that is a loaded fucking gun for a female audience. Because I bet you, I mean, I know more women who have talked to me about that experience to some degree or other than not. And that is a loaded fucking gun, and this game is not smart enough to play with that gun. Okay. One thing that I will give to its credit, though the implication is that multiple women have gone through this, and that you, in that context, there is another girl who is in this situation with you. The only time you actually have to see or experience any of that powerlessness is when you, as the player, have some degree of control, because you have the ability to rewind time, and theoretically you have the ability to free yourself from the circumstance if you can figure out how. So at least they don't force you to witness your friends go through this assault. They just make you do it, and at least they give you some power, but that is still really hard to watch.
Is there a path where, I guess there's no path where you end up enduring the assault, right? Like it's all the whole point of the game is like dodging that, right?
Well, you create a reality in which it doesn't happen, but to create that reality, you have to endure it. Let's say maybe 45 minutes of gameplay where you are you are duct taped to a chair.
Oh, okay.
And there is a puzzle where someone is about to come in and save you. You've tipped off a guy who now knows about this and is going to come and get you out of the situation. And you have to figure out how to get through this 30 seconds so that everyone lives. And this scene is the gentleman who's kidnapped you comes at you with a needle and is about to inject you to kill you. And at the last minute, right before the needle touches your skin, there's a sound. He turns around. It's this dude who's here to save you. They have a tussle, and those people could die. Yeah. So you have to rewind the scene over and over and over and watch yourself powerless, about to be shot full of drugs over and over again. And
I like that. Actually does sound interesting, how to like refine how you're manipulating the situation. But I do like that it's kind of a well-meaning but knuckle-dragging game, threatening you with inflicting you with an even more knuckle-draggingly stupid plot element. It's like that's the drama at the end of the game, is like we could have taken the super stupid route and we'll threaten you with it, but maybe if you can manipulate time, we'll take the middle road rather than like the super garbage road of storytelling here.
It was very much so like Tomb Raider, where a fail state meant you had to watch your character suffer again and again. And there was a certain, and I kept thinking, I'm like, this doesn't feel manipulative in that it doesn't feel like it is like titillating sort of thing. They're not trying to like this is not designed to excite anybody, but it's just that there are just some tropes that are just hard to deal with when you're a woman, and that was really, really hard. And this game just wasn't smart enough to deal with it.
Does
And
the game end with
yeah.
Ashley Birch's character on a cliff face overlooking the Pacific Ocean saying, "Truly, life is strange"? And it
She
cuts
does
to credits?
almost say life is strange. She said life is, there's an ellipsis, and then she says something like really fucked up or something like that.
I want to support Ashley Birch, and I want to support this game, but I bought this game sight unseen, the whole season pass, just because I wanted to support it. But oof.
I really liked the last episode. The last episode had some of my favorite little moments that I've seen in a video game this year. I want to feel more conflicted about this game. I really do. Because I think the aesthetic is fantastic. I think the mechanics are interesting. I like and respect any game where it encourages you to, if you want to, sit down so your character can just kind of look at what's going on around her and just kind of digest everything that's happened with a little internal dialogue. Like, I like that shit. I think this game is beautiful. I think its music was fantastic. I think the performances were as good as they can be given the lines and very clearly the direction they were giving. Like, I like so much about it. There's a bit in it where it's in the rain, and the way they do raindrops on the characters is they're laying a texture that's very clearly just light and dark drops that are the same kind of brush size as a lot of the brush strokes in the game, of varying opacity, and it's like such a little detail, and it's so pleasant. And then like the last episode, they finally start playing with time and kind of like quick cuts, and like they do some shit that's genuinely unsettling in a good way. But it's just, I can't recommend it. I just feel like it was just too it was trying to cash checks that it was not able to do.
Are the first person I know who've beaten this game, who not even beaten the game, you're the first person I've seen who got invested in this game in any way, who has come out saying anything but moi, voila, what a fantastic game.
Yeah,
Everyone
a lot of
else
people
I know,
they're like, oh, if you can just look over past the dialogue, it's really good.
Yeah, like I've seen this game show up on a number of people's best game of the year lists, and I mean, most people, not every recommendation on everyone's game of the year list is unqualified, but everyone's been pretty like, yeah, exactly. Like the worst thing people say, like the dialogue's like kind of unrealistic, where it is, yeah.
And I think it's really great.
It's closer than mine, and I only played the first fucking episode, and I didn't even get to see any of the sexual fucked up shit, or the gender, like the fucking social shit. But
it's and it's like, I think it's important to have media that's about the experiences of teenage girls, like, and this feels moderately honest and is trying to be, something. It's important
to have media about sexually frustrated high school photography teachers who have dipshit ideas about statements about, I don't know, blah blah blah. Is it that same teacher? Is that?
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Fucking Christ.
Of course he's the murderer.
That is.
And I will say, okay, fuck this game.
Good video game writing. Fucking
I'll say this. So, the thing about Telltale games and any episodic games is that after you get past the third episode, you actually have, like, the creators at that point have digested feedback from the first episode, and you see some of that reaction a little bit. Like, the first 3 episodes are too soon, but by the 4th episode on, they're to some degree pivoting to react to feedback. And one of the things they do is that the teacher, while he is torturing you, is making fun of you for using your selfie language and everything, and is like a weird insert for the criticism of the gamers.
But to hear criticism come from the bad guy.
Yeah, to come from the sociopath. I'm like, fuck this game. Fuck it. Fuck it. And it's so pretty and so like, I'm
glad you had a good time.
Fuck, life is strange. Bill, tell me about Undertale.
Undertale is the opposite of Life is Strange. It is fucking awesome. I still love the fact that I'm like, hey Annie, you should play this game Undertale, and you're like, motherfucker, I was playing that and I heard about this game long before you did, you son of a bitch. Undertale is is probably the best game I've played all of 2015. It's hard to talk about the game without making it sound like it's just good because it makes a lot of just like internet meme humor jokes, or just because it's like or like a lot. It's easy to make it sound like people just love it just because it's also riffing off of old like 16-bit JRPGs and stuff because that's kind of the
Uh-huh.
format of the game. But um, you only played like what, like half an hour of the game.
I played about an hour and a half. Yeah.
It's interesting because a lot of people seem to have, like, even I did. I almost gave up on the game about there was about like it got to the point where I got to you're playing the game, you're just kind of walking around in an entirely empty world for the first 90 minutes, kind of doing these super rudimentary like switch puzzles and stuff, not
Uh-huh.
talking to any characters except for this goat lady who's trying to mother you, and it is boring as shit. The game means well, and it's interesting to find out more about the development history of this game. So the first like 2 hours of the game was a chunk that was thrown together by the creator. I guess this game was kickstarted,
Uh-huh.
and part of the Kickstarter thing was, hey, if you donate at a certain point, we'll craft a demo for you to play, or at least this will be the first playable chunk of the game. And so I guess this first part of the game was made like 2 years before the rest of the game was, and it really shows because there is a split. Once you leave Toriel's house, the main first spoilers for Undertale. We're just talking about the first 90 minutes, which is the most boring part of the game, which really almost has nothing to do with the rest of the game, is even from a gameplay perspective. Once you leave Toriel's house, the game really does kick in. You start meeting more characters, and Undertale proper, the bits that everyone's been freaking out about, that's when it kicks in, and actually the game does get good.
Uh-huh.
But what happened was I got to like the last 2 hours of the game, got to a boss battle that I could not beat. Um, it's interesting because this is like it's a role playing game, except instead of being turn based battles like in Final Fantasy, you're playing these little. It's essentially like WarioWare micro games, in combat where your character is represented by this little heart that's having
Right.
shit thrown at it, and you have to avoid. And depending on which battle it is, you have to do different things. Sometimes you have to avoid this or do some kind of like almost like DDR music beat matching stuff. It's that's one of the best parts of the game is the fact that the battle mechanic in every fight is fundamentally different. And but I did get to the point where I'm fighting a boss named Muffet who kicked the shit out of me. And it sounds like
Yeah.
if I had there's a part of the game where there are spiders in the game. Not super
Yeah.
scary spiders. They talk about spiders.
I chatted. I bought some from their bake sale.
That
Yeah.
actually helps you in this fight, which I did, but then I ate the thing that I bought from them, which I guess
Oh
it doesn't matter.
no.
But you can cut this boss fight in half just by specifically having bought something from the Spider Bake Sale at the very beginning of the game. And I did that, but still, it wasn't enough for me. I could get through this boss fight. I wish to hell there was an easy narrative mode to this game because
Yeah.
at a certain point, the game, I just wanted to see what was happening to the characters because the characters in this game were so great. So what the
Yeah,
basic guts.
that's part of why I stopped playing it, is the bullet hell stuff was not fun to me.
Yeah, and I even sent a tweet off to Soapy Fox saying, "Hey, I don't know if you're ever gonna read this or you ever take feedback about this, but I would really, I would really appreciate if you could put out like some kind of difficulty patch for this game where, where you could. I mean, it would, it'd be nice to still be able to do the combat and stuff, but do something where if you just want to play the game for the story, you could because, yeah, and I've heard this from other people too, where they also got, especially with me because, the big thing in the game in Undertale is that." You're actually the one thing that got me playing this game more than anything else was that I heard that you can get through the whole game without killing anybody, and
Right.
I love that in video games. And finding out the game was relatively cheap, I wanted to do that, and that's what kind of squashed my nuts towards the end of the game was because I hadn't killed anybody, I had never leveled up, so I still had barely any health by the end of the game, which does not necessarily make the mini games like harder, but it does make it so that like you can take far less hits than you normally would if you were playing the game normally. And so it got to the point where I was doing what was already a pretty tough boss battle, and it could only take like 1 or 2 hits before I died.
Yeah.
And so finally said, fine, fuck it. I know I'm right at the end of the game. I'll just watch the ending of the rest of the game on YouTube. And especially by that end of the game, there's really no narrative branching paths or anything. Like it's pretty linear. So I could just like fire up the last 2 hours on YouTube. And I did. And so I technically did not beat Undertale, but I have seen the pacifist ending, and just seeing what actually it kind of kills me too, because the end boss battle of that game looks nuts, and some of the mechanics and how some of the other characters play into that just seems really fucking unique. The
Yeah.
whole crux of the game is the story is stone simple. The game takes place in a world where humans and monsters have had a falling out. there was a battle a long time ago where the monsters were driven underground and locked underground by the humans, and so all monsters live underground beneath this little barrier that they can't escape from. And you would play as a human child who is falling through a hole into this monster underground, and now you're trying to get out of there. And so everyone you're talking to is a monster living underground who wants to one day they're hoping that someday they can get out of the underground and live along, not even necessarily live among humans, but just live above ground someday. And so the story is, yeah, that it goes to some interesting places, especially since the ending changes wildly depending on whether or not you play normally. You know, you could decide to kill some people, maybe you might spare some people. There's also an entirely different ending if you decide to, do pacifist run and not kill anyone, which that does seem to be what the real ending of the game is. And you can also go on a genocide run, which is in which you just kill everyone. And that the ending boss is completely different. The story completely changes. One of the best things is that the game is set up so it will detect the game will remember your choices between different games you've played. So if you've done a genocide run, and then come back and try to pay a pacifist run, there's a couple characters remember that you've already played a version of this game where you've killed everyone, and they'll call you out on it.
Really?
Daniel was talking about how so in this the first act of this game, the first hour and a half ends with you're this little kid who's fallen into this underground, and you're taken in by this, who I was talking about, this little motherly goat lady named Toriel. And there's a certain point in the game where your character decides, like, I want to leave. I can't stay here with you forever. I need to get out of here, and I need to go back up. I need to try to get out of here and get back to my family. And she's like, no, I don't. I want you to stay. You're just going to get hurt if you leave. And it starts this like confrontation with her where you can, I guess, kill her. You can talk if you're doing a pacifist run. You can just talk your way out of the situation. She'll let you go and leave her house, and you continue on the game. Or you could actually physically fight her and kill her. And I think Daniel was saying that he actually did kill her, and he felt so bad that he didn't want to continue the game, so he restarted the whole game and came back and started doing a pacifist run. And a character came out and said, "Hey, so I guess you must have felt really bad about killing her, but we'll let you start this game over again." And so just like that kind of self-awareness from the game was kind of cool. I'd not seen it, but that's what Daniel said happened to him. And I thought, well, shit, that's kind of fucked up. And so just like little things like that. And like I said, the characters are great. Oh my God, Undyne and Alphys. You essentially meet about like 6 or 7 really great characters, and they all become your buddies throughout the game. Well, assuming you're playing pacifist run and you don't kill anyone. And the fact that you've actually gone out of your way to befriend everybody at the end of the game actually plays into the ending and into the plot. And it's one of the best casts I've ever seen in a video game of characters. I don't want to oversell it or anything like that, but because it's also just such a small, gentle game. Undertale does not benefit from being oversold, because part of the appeal of the game is just kind of discovering things on your own and kind of meeting characters without too much expectations, because it's a good game, but it's not like the end all and be all of video games. But it is I really liked it though. Undertale, thumbs up. It's a good time.
I'm glad you had a good time with it, my friend.
Yeah, and it seems like a lot of people are stalling out in the first hour or two, and that's if you can get past that and get like to the first town. Is it Snowdin? It's like a little snowy town. If you can at least get there, that's when the game starts to pick up.
Yeah, I got as far as like I'm on the outskirts of Snowdin before I peaced out.
Yeah, and again, I wish, especially if you're doing a pacifist run, I wish there was a way you can just put on an easy mode, baby mode, and just like you can maybe still do the boss fights, but just make it so you're just more worried about just talking to people rather than like fighting them and stuff. But it's still really good though. And at the very least, watch some pacifist walkthroughs on YouTube.
Yeah,
you maybe because the characters are so richly written, and at a certain point it's kind of linear enough anyway. You're essentially playing a really funny cartoon in video game format.
Sure,
so just like watch it on YouTube, like it's like 5 hours of your life, but you're essentially watching a 5-hour long like cartoon series at that point. But Undertale, a thumbs up. I really like that.
Oh, I'm glad really you beat it ish.
But those characters fucking. All the even the main big boss of the game is really interesting. Like you think it's going to be this big evil monster guy, but there's shit going on. It's fuck yeah. There's some moments, fucking Sans talking to you and shit, and yeah. Anyway, there's a reason why that game's being very memey. It's it's the Steven Universe of video games.
Oh yeah, that's actually a very apt metaphor. Yeah.
In both like it's again not served well by being oversold, and it does have like a now frothing fan base, which is kind of super insular and kind of like freaking people out. But there's still something where there's still something about the thing that everyone's freaking out that's worth seeking out, but you might want to avoid the fandom around it, though, if you want to really enjoy the thing in question. But yeah, anyway, yeah. Monkey butt.
Well, Bill, I know you saw some other movies this week, but do you want to push on to the Geek Week in review?
Oh yeah. Oh, I just wanted to mention for okay, we got about 45 minutes to wrap this up. For Tardy of the Party podcast in the last week or two, I've had to watch Lion in Winter, Return to Oz, and Muppet Treasure Island for the first time.
Wait, hold on. You've never seen Muppet Treasure Island or Return to Oz before?
Well, no, Daniel watched that's right. No, Daniel, I had seen Return to Oz before. Daniel had.
Wait, you had never seen Muppet Treasure Island?
No, that's what I'm saying. Our episode this week, as we record this, that's our most recent episode that's gone live, is Muppet Treasure Island.
That's one of my favorite Muppet movies.
So fire that episode up. You get to hear spoilers, Annie. We both kind of liked it.
Okay, good. Because if you did it, that would be the sunrise of our friendship.
And there's a lot of us kind of going like, when's Miss Piggy gonna show? Wait, what? And that's going like, Tim Curry, he's so funny. He like a living Muppet. But yeah, I got to see Lion in Winter for the first time. Daniel didn't care much for that, but I really liked that. That's going to be our next episode that goes live on this upcoming Wednesday. Lion in Winter's really good.
Yeah, it's a fucking amazing movie. That's has been our Thanksgiving movie for the last couple of years.
That's a Thanksgiving movie. That's funny because that movie's all about. Oh man,
it is. But it's also it's a Christmas movie, but it's also about
it's about
family getting together and shouting at each other before they have to separate again.
Yeah, it's if you love Arrested Development, you'll love Lion in Winter.
Yeah, Lion in Winter. We 100%. That has been a meme in our household. Is that Lion in Winter is Arrested Development?
Well, that's what I mentioned in the podcast. Is how like the middle son Jeffrey, he should be walking around with a shirt that says "slut" on it. And then Return to Oz we talked about, which Daniel, we thought that was pretty good too. But yeah, everyone knows about Return to Oz. It's scary.
Wheelers. Those fucking wheelers.
Yeah, and Mombi, she got separate heads, and they're scary and stuff like that. So yeah, that's I had to watch that stuff. But so yeah, Muppet Treasure Island is our most recent episode. Lion in Winter and Return to Oz are coming up. So
and that's at tardypodcast.com. The Tardy to the Party podcast.
Yes.
All right, pals, we're gonna take a little break, and we're back for the Geek Week in review.
Woohoo! Yeah, we'll wrap this up easily. It's gonna be no problem.
What time is your GarageBand recording at?
I am at 55:15.
Okay, well, hopefully I didn't lose too much time.
No, like I said, like whatever I lost, I could just patch up with with the YouTube audio. So
okay, well, I just want to tell you real quick where I had lost time, so that because I'm just gonna send you one MP3.
Okay, yeah, that totally makes sense, yeah.
Because it's all in one GarageBand file. Okay. I lost time a little after... come on. Boop, boop. Between 1640 and 1645.
Oh, really? Just 5 seconds?
Well, I started recording again. I don't know how much time I lost.
Oh, okay.
There's like I don't know.
I forgot something. Yeah. So you lost the first chunk of the episode that you had to?
I don't know. I mean, if I'm at 55:58 right now.
Okay.
So maybe I only lost a couple of seconds.
It's only cool.
Yeah.
Actually, Annie, just for syncing sakes, yell something.
Habba dabba dooba dabba dee boo.
Okay, just my.
Mom's got a squeeze box. She wears on her chest. All right.
Whoa.
It's from Monster Factory. Okay, you ready to do the Geek Week, my friend?
Was that the final Pam?
What episode is that from? Jesus Christ, I can't remember. Oh, I think that's from The Sims, actually.
I feel bad. Leland got you a gift that I'm supposed to give you, but you're not here today, so maybe next week.
Yeah, I gotta give you your Kahinde Wiley.
Oh, that is awesome. Thank you so much. That's super cool. That's a good gift.
Yeah.
You're so smart. Okay.
All right, pals, now it's time for the Geek Week interview. As y'all know, this is the part of our podcast where Bill has observed news in the week that was, and I am reading his notes, often for the first time. Let's see, the Royal Mint has introduced 2 new coins for Great Britain. A £2 coin to celebrate the 400th anniversary of Shakespeare's death, and a 50 pence coin to celebrate the Beatrix Potter's 150th birthday.
I thought that was just cool, especially the Shakespeare one. Hey, I got skull. More money needs
Yeah.
skulls on it. Also, there's a
Yeah.
dagger on the back, and also just Beatrix Potter. She got like a little. It's cool because it got like it's got her silhouette, and it's got Bunny, and it's got her name, and the Queen looking old on the other side, which I'm surprised she lets them do that, but that's a thing. And yeah, no, it's fucking
That Shakespeare
cool.
coin is pretty classy, I gotta say.
Well, it kind of looks like the what's the Canadian double coin, because it's essentially kind of that where it's like a coin nested within a coin. It's a silver coin
Yeah.
nested within a golden one. But yeah, with
Yeah.
that's
Huh.
yeah. If anyone can mail me like a Shakespeare British coin, that would be awesome.
We have some friends in the UK, Bill. I think we can make that happen.
Yeah, no, that's what reminds me how much more interesting money is anywhere in the world except the United States. Christ Almighty.
In other news, this person finally managed to cook up a not terrible Lego Millennium Falcon.
And also, Bill just realized what a terrible
Damn.
radio segment this is going to make. Somebody just made a really good, pretty much 2-scale Millennium Falcon. It really is
Damn.
truly to scale with all the minifigures. This person also has done a bunch of Wild West stuff, which I guess Annie has seen because I forwarded this guy's Flickr gallery to her, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I've seen that shit before, but I haven't seen it in this close up." Maybe I'll post a link into the show notes for this guy's.
And this
Flickr
guy,
gallery.
Marshall Banana, is legit.
Yeah, Marshall Banana on Flickr. He knows what he's doing. Whoever it is, Marshall Banana could be anyone, but yeah.
I made friends in line at the Lego store waiting for new Lego sets with this guy, and it made me think of you, Bill, because he was like, "Yeah, I'm holding out for Lego to do like a real Millennium Falcon, like a good one."
You know what? With
Yeah.
Star, I think it's pretty much inevitable at this point because, in fact, actually, the Ghostbusters Firehouse may be their attempt to see, well, will people pay for a $350 license thing? And once that's proven out, they'll be like, okay, here's your fucking $500 Millennium Falcon. That's essentially like what this guy built.
It's crazy. This piece is 7,500 pieces. That's nuts.
Yeah, that's about another third beyond what the Lego Firehouse is, and they could knock something. Yeah, we'll see what happens, but
That's crazy. Yeah.
he's also done some Cowboy Bebop stuff, but his Wild West stuff is really cool.
Yeah.
A little stagecoach, Annie. You need to have like a little Model T in your town.
Motorhead's Lemmy Kilmister was, as is inevitable for us all, I guess, killed by death.
Yeah, so sad. He'd been sick for a while, but now he just finally croaked. Annie, have you ever heard of much Motorhead or anything?
I mean, I know of Motorhead. I don't own any albums. I've heard their songs.
You've heard of not Ace of Base. Ace of
Spades, of course.
Ace of Spades.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lemmy Kilmister, he'd been sick for the last couple of years, and everyone was worried that he was dying, but I don't think anyone realized he was like dying. Even him. So I guess this is kind of crazy. So the day after Christmas, he went to the doctors, got diagnosed with cancer, and died in his sleep 2 days later.
Huh.
He was up and around and walking for a couple days before he went before he died. He I think was it like a week? Was it a week before his birthday? There was a whole... Oh, no, so his 70th birthday was like the day before Christmas. He went to the doctors, got diagnosed with terminal cancer the day after Christmas. And so like a week before that happened, like I guess in Hollywood, they had a big tribute concert to him. And they said he looked pretty fucked up. He wasn't walking around or anything like that. But no one expected that he would be dead within a week. But yeah, so he got diagnosed and went home, went to bed, and never woke up. And so, which considering... how he was 70 years old and he should have been dead 30 or 40 years ago, because he was famous for his big shtick was that he's up until just a couple years ago he still drank a bottle of Jack Daniels a day, and
Jesus.
even up until last week he was still taking speed every day.
Jesus.
So everyone's kind of like, oh, so sad Lemmy's dead. We can't believe he made it this long. So yeah, it sucks that he's dead, but everyone should be celebrating the fact that he even made it to his 70th birthday. And so yeah, good on him. He sounds like he was a very goofy man, but everyone loved him to death. So.
Yeah, he was beloved. Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange looks ridiculously silly in a good way. No,
I don't know anything about Doctor Strange. Do you care about Doctor Strange at all, Annie?
Man, I am so done with the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Really?
No.
Yeah.
Over the holidays, I did watch Ant-Man with my sister and my brother-in-law,
That
and that
bad,
was
huh?
like, well, it was just really not good, and it was poor Peyton Reed, the director, who did Down with Love, one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
Was doing his best Edgar Wright impression.
Yeah, which that was
movie-
supposed to be his shtick. Yeah.
And it is hard to do an Edgar Wright impression well. I felt bad for him, honestly, because if that was kind of
Edgar Wright is
marching
such a very
orders-
specific voice. It's hard to replicate that. Yeah.
I watched Hot Fuzz with my parents shortly afterwards, and it was just like a sharp like contrast sort of thing. So yeah, I don't know. You know what? The Marvel Cinematic movies aren't for me, and that's okay.
Yeah,
that's okay.
I just like what they did with his hair, because they gave him like the graying like sides, and like he's got floppy mop top. Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, he looks. That's what Doctor Strange looks like.
Yeah,
in my
and
brief
they
experience.
let him have like the high colored cloak and everything like that. 'Cause, like, that's one of the things I was kind of curious about, because the whole shtick about the horror Marvel Cinematic Universe is like they're taking the basic comic book designs but trying to like realistic them up. And I was kind of wondering, because Doctor Strange, he's dressed in tight little pants with a giant cape with like giant cuffs and everything like that, and that looks like they actually kept that for the movie. So
yeah, my vague familiarity with Marvel stuff, and this is not, don't quote me on this, but he's actually a magic user. It's not like science or mutation or even like a magic object. He is a magician.
Yeah, it's not like he's got like Spider-Man's like robotic shit in his hands where he's like pretending it's magic, but he has to go home and like fix his equipment. No, he's got like magic stones and he's casting spells. He's Harry Potter with a grudge. Yeah. So that'll be interesting. Well, I mean, I guess that makes him kind of in the same vein of Thor, where Thor is a magic god.
But Thor is like from magic lands,
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm kind of wondering what they're going to do with this movie, not to piss off the Bible Belt, because it's a magic. Even on the cover of the Entertainment Weekly, he's holding up like a fiery spell thing that says God isn't real. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
The devil.
Yeah, the devil. 666 is awesome. Anyway.
The most important news this week is that Dark Horse announced their free comic book day contribution this year will be a Legend of Korra book written by the creators and illustrated by Heather Campbell, aka Buttface Bikini.
This is proof positive that sometimes the universe works in harmony. Like, it works the way it should. It doesn't do it very often, but we've been saying for years that if there is a just God, Buttface Bikini should be doing at least some kind of official Korra comic book, and it sounds like she's at least doing a free comic book day strip.
Yeah, Bikini works at Valve, and she does all the illustrations for their all the Team Fortress comics.
What's her real name? Heather Campbell?
Heather Campbell.
She'll always be Buttface Bikini. If she wins an
I think that was her live journal name. I don't even think that's her Tumblr name.
Exactly. I think she's trying to ditch that, and still, you got people like me going, "I love Buttface Bikini."
Be careful of your branding, kids.
She's one of the best cartoonists alive, though. She's
so expressive.
She draws great, but also she's just fucking hilarious. She knows her way around a joke. Man, she should be. Goddamn. I just want to see more comics out of her, because she works at Valve. It doesn't seem like she really gets a chance to do anything that's not like Team Fortress comics anymore. Yeah. Which is not necessarily inherently bad, but yeah.
I was gonna say, dude, if you want to see her comics, she's got hundreds of pages online.
Yeah, they're still out there. Yeah, she's producing new stuff, but
just all Team Fortress.
Yeah, she designed. Well, I remember that was a bigger thing, saying, "Oh, she designed." The announcer in Team Fortress, but that was before she even got hired by Valve. She's just
I love that kind of got her job.
Yeah, her fan art became canonical design for stuff, and then they said, "Oh, fine, fuck it, we'll just hire you." All right. So anyway,
there was internet kerfuffle this week over George Lucas equating Disney to white slavers in regards to how they've been treating Star Wars. I'm presuming this is a Bill joke. Lucas doubled down on this by waving a gun at the Sao Paulo premiere of The Force Awakens.
How do you know this?
I don't.
You're out of town for news. You don't know what was going on. George Lucas, he got problems.
I missed what he said. How did he say that they were like white slavers?
Oh no, he just had an interview with was it Charlie Rose?
Yeah, didn't he say that to Charlie Rose's face, which is a hell of a thing to say?
Why? What, does Charlie Rose come from a slaver family?
Well, no, Charlie Rose is African American.
What?
Isn't he? Am I going crazy?
Charlie Rose. Wait, am I saying the right name right?
Am I confusing it with
about the same human being? Okay, Charlie Rose is like the oldest, whitest guy there is.
Oh no, you're right. What show am I confusing it with on PBS? Okay.
Really? Is there a black interview guy on PBS? Which that in itself is news to me.
Who am I thinking of?
PBS black guy.
Oh, Bill. I regret having this conversation. Okay, anyway, so yeah, what did he say? He said,
So,
how did he equate
They
it
just
to...
Charlie Rose, which he's Lucas has said this a couple times now, where he does not necessarily dislike The Force Awakens, but he is kind of disappointed that the movie seems to be leaning so hard on nostalgia.
Yeah.
And Charlie Rose was like, "Well, how do you feel about that?" And George Lucas was like, "Well, I sold away my stuff. It's kind of like what happens when you sell your kids away to like white slavers or something like that." He was just like speaking
Oh,
off the top of his head. But
yeah,
yeah,
that's
well,
something we can all relate to, you know?
I know exactly.
I think that's about as relatable as saying I sold my
That was
ideas.
stupid. I didn't mean to like, yeah, but you understand what George is talking about, even if he did come out and be like, yeah, I put that the wrong way. I didn't mean to like white, like,
Yeah.
my billion-dollar
My
fake
billion-dollar
fantasy
baby.
franchise is not. I'm not equating that to like the pain of black slavery, but he's just saying like, I did sell my baby essentially. Yeah, that's what he was trying to say. But yeah, it just came out a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I did.
Sorry.
I read a lot of some pull quotes from this interview, and he said something along the lines of, he's like, he basically said, you can know, I know a lot of people didn't like the prequels, but at least I was trying to do something different.
Yeah.
You know?
Conley took issue with the fact that he was very specifically in that interview too. He talks about how Star Wars is a story of family. It's about sons and fathers and grandfathers and like it's a family. He does make it sound like it's about boys too, which is kind of like he kind of put his foot in his mouth a little bit there too, which is unfortunate because he's saying that in a way where he's also disparaging a movie where like a lady is the star of the movie. Which again, that's not his. His point is that he like it sounds like his original treatment would have focused more on like the family of the kids of the Skywalkers rather than having like the because he keeps on he has this coded way. He was like it's this movie is more about spaceships than it is about family. I think he's more wound up about the fact that they like spent so much time like freaking out about the Millennium Falcon in that movie.
Oh sure, yeah.
Which again, but it's again you understand what he's saying, but the way he's saying it, he does sound a little bit. Yeah, it's coming across.
I mean, that movie had more dialogue about Chewie's bowcaster than it did about,
which is funny because we haven't actually we've both seen Star Wars now. We haven't actually talked about it yet.
Well, I mean, we talked about it in the last episode.
Did we?
Yeah, we had Hannah Groff on and we talked about it.
Oh, that's right. Oh, okay. Star Wars
and over this course of our conversation, the more we talked about it, the more I realized I did like it, even though at first I was really frustrated by it.
Wait, how did your frustrations get smoothed over?
Well, no, I mean, because when I left that movie, my issues were George Lucas's, where I felt like it was a lot of them just giving a big sloppy blowjob to Star Wars fans and saying, no, this isn't like the prequels. See, we have the Millennium Falcon, and here's Han Solo, and remember this. That was
we did have this whole conversation. Yeah. That was your feeling 2 weeks ago. So you've kind of softened on that a little bit.
Well, I mean, ultimately, there are a lot of things I liked in it, but I think my opinion is more I'm curious about the next one.
Exactly.
Because it's I hope they can move beyond just illusion and reference and do something new. So
kind of curious because like Larry Kasdan, who he wrote The Empire Strikes Back and he co-wrote Return of the Jedi and he co-wrote the Force Awakens. He's come out in the last week or two and said, Rian Johnson's script for the next one. It's really weird. There's shit going on in this movie you've never seen in a Star Wars movie before.
That's what I want to hear.
And which Kasdan's been pretty much off-brand with a lot of his interviews, so it doesn't sound like he's saying that just to assuage people's fears. If he's saying that, it sounds like that's an honest opinion. So we'll see what happens in the next movie. But yeah.
Rian Johnson is writing the next script too.
Oh yeah, no, he wrote, and this is the first time someone's written and directed a Star Wars movie since George Lucas did the prequels. Which is not saying much because there's only been one movie since then. That was going to sound more impressive in my mind than it did out loud. But so Rian Johnson is writing and directing the next one, and he's at least writing the first draft of the ninth movie, the last movie.
Interesting. Well, what's funny is I've always said that I love Rian Johnson's movies, but I always wondered what a Rian Johnson movie would be like with a female protagonist, and I never thought I would get one in a Star Wars.
She's gonna be skateboarding and taking photos through watermelon, and yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
Let's see what else is going on. Studio Ghibli's Only Yesterday got its first English language teaser.
I guess you didn't get a chance to see this yet.
I've not heard about this.
You don't care about this. I don't know if you want to watch it now or you could just bluff right over it. Go, blah, blah,
Bill,
blah, blah, blah.
no, tell me, what are your thoughts? I don't know what Only Yesterday is.
Oh, so Only Yesterday is it's not a Miyazaki movie, even though it is a Studio Ghibli movie. It's directed by Zao Takahata, who's the same guy who did Grave of the Fireflies. This is I know a lot of people. This is actually their favorite Studio Ghibli movie. It's the one Studio Ghibli movie there was absolutely no fantasy elements. I sort of I've talked about this multiple times on the podcast before.
Oh, I think you have mentioned it. Yeah.
This is the one that's about an older Japanese lady, which is funny because my recollections, I thought she was at least in her mid-30s. In the trailer, she's like, I think she's on the the trailer came out for the first English language trailer for this movie came out. And it's her mom talking to her on the phone saying, "You're an old lady. You're 27. You need to find love where you can." And I was like, wait, is that character really just 27? But the main character is voiced by Daisy Ridley. And yeah, it's a story about a Japanese office worker in the mid-'80s who decides to, like, on a month-long vacation in the middle of summer, just goes out to a farm just to kind of get her shit together. And while she's on vacation, she just has recollections about her youth. And she just kind of like, she's just trying to figure out what's gone wrong in her life because she was such a precocious youth, but now as like a 30-year-old woman, she's like lost some of that spark, and she's trying to figure out what happened in her life. And it's just about like a 30-year-old lady, like trying to get her shit together a little bit. No particular reason that she's suffered any big trauma, but she's just like my life just doesn't have that spark, and that's. Who the hell's gonna make an animated movie about that? But Studio Ghibli did, and that's
really cool.
Joshin's favorite Studio Ghibli movie, just because it's about people more than any kind of fantasy weird shit or anything like that.
That's cool.
Especially just being about a random Japanese lady.
Yeah,
who doesn't have any particular damage or anything like that, but she's just, I'm older now, and I'm just trying to get her life into perspective, and that's it. So
interesting. Okay, yeah, I'll go see that.
Yeah, welcome to an hour and a half of like animated 30-year-old women picking fruit on a farm, and then flashing back to when she was 12 and how the first time she tasted pineapple. That kind of movie. Yeah,
I don't know. I'll go.
No, I'm not saying it's bad.
That for $1.
Pitching it to somebody like, this is the movie. This lady eats pineapple. You know, it's like, okay.
So I do love as in media, like if you're over 27 years old, you may as well be dead. So it's interesting that you perceived her to be older than she was.
That's one thing, because not even like 35 makes you old, but like in my memory, I thought she was at least in her mid-30s, and like looking at the trailer, she's like, "You're 27." Like the quote unquote old lady in this thing is only 27. I'm like, oh my god. So yeah, that's even worse.
Jason Wingreen, the original guy who voiced Boba Fett, died on Christmas Day. He was 95 years old.
Yeah, just this is the guy who did the voice of Boba Fett before he got replaced by the Maori guy, who, when they changed Boba Fett's backstory, so he's just like a Kiwi clone. This is the original guy, so who had the early grace, like, he's no good to me dead. He had a really great clipped, like, gravelly voice. The voice of Boba Fett was fucking awesome, but he dead now because everyone's dying because that movie was made 800 years ago.
Alien Covenant, ? Will be set 10 years after Prometheus. Wait a minute, they're calling the Prometheus sequel Alien Covenant?
That's why I put the question mark, because like people were talking about that, and I was like, oh, that's weird. And I was like, wait, that's the name of the Prometheus sequel? And I was like, oh yeah, I guess.
Are they retroactively calling Prometheus Alien : Prometheus?
You think they would have to, because it's so weird, because like that's going to be, especially because they're talking about making 2 sequels to Prometheus. So I'm assuming, yeah, you can't have like a DVD box shelf on your shelf that says Prometheus, Alien Covenant, and then Alien Monkey Pants. They're like, even from a branding perspective, it doesn't make any sense.
Anyway, Bill also notes it will barely feature Rumi Mara Rapace.
Whatever her name was.
Numi. Damn it! Now I can't remember.
It's not Rumi Mara or Numi Rapace,
isn't it? Oh fuck! What's her name? Now you fucked me up, dude.
What we're learning is that Hollywood has to stop hiring actors and actresses that sound like Star Wars characters.
Numi Rapace.
No more Benedict Cumberbatch. No more Numi.
Man, that sucks. The only part of that, like my favorite part of that movie was
that's the news.
Numi Rapace with an axe. That was like
supposedly the big connective tissue is supposed to be Michael Fassbender's robot character, not.
Of course it is.
Which how? Why? I guess they're saying that the 10 years after Prometheus thing will somehow be like that will justify why Noomi Rapace is no longer around, or if she's just going to show up. Like, but they were setting out her up to be the new main character of that series. Like, what the hell happened?
Yeah, only one of those two people needs food and oxygen. So,
exactly.
yeah.
So she's either dead or she got prematurely aged or something. But like, Michael Fassbender's character wasn't bad, but like,
Noomi Rapace is the interesting part of that movie. It was the original Alien and Prometheus. What they shared was a woman who was going to survive no matter what. You know.
Yeah, well, there's the gender thing, like the whole, like, well, yeah, it sucks that you're automatically ejecting the female lead of this franchise. And also, just from a narrative, regardless of the gender or any kind of, like, social politics, she's the main, like, what? Like, there's no, yeah.
Oh,
Fuck
boy.
You.
Oh,
man,
boy.
Fuck
man,
that.
what you thinking, what's this about who directed that movie, who used to respect and still kind of do? What's his name?
I feel... Now he, I mean, oh god, I'm almost kind of surprised he's going through with these Alien movies now that The Martian was a hit, because you think now he's like, well, now I'm actually respected again, so I don't have to keep on like sucking up to these science fiction fanboys. Fuck this shit. I don't know. So
is he still working on the Blade Runner sequel? He's been talking about it. That's
what he's been threatening. I think like 2 weeks ago it was confirmed that Ryan Gosling's supposed to be the lead at least or something, and
Crazy. In better news, the first Moana footage was released.
Did you happen to see this? It's just like 2 seconds of just.
I saw animated GIFs of it on Tumblr, so
exactly, that's what
I got the salient.
I remember Claire Hummel was kind of grumpy about how, of course, the girl just looks like a girl who's just kind of like nice and like, oh, I've got, except now I'm browner than normal Disney princesses, and that's the demigod Maui. Is the only character who seems to be allowed to be kind of like goofy and crazy and kind of look like a goofball. But it does look cool. I like the animation for the character Maui, voiced by Fast and Furious. He's got all the tattoos.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson?
Yeah, he actually does look like a real Maori person. It is like they kind of made the... Yeah, it's kind of goofy looking. I like that. It's cool.
I love it. Yeah, I'm curious to hear how he is as a voice actor because he does have such a distinctive voice.
Yeah, I saw there was on Reddit going around. There was an Imgur gallery, Imgur or whatever the fuck it's called, of like just photos of celebrities when they were younger, and there was a photo of The Rock when he was 15 in his bedroom, and it's great because he's so gawky because like he's starting to get his Rock shoulders, but the rest of him is still like 12-year-old Rock.
Early pictures of The Rock are the greatest. There's one where he's wearing a black turtleneck sweater and like a gold chain and jeans and a fanny pack. So good. There's like a prom photo or something where he's got like a shitty little teen stash. It's so good. I love The Rock. I love The Rock.
Yeah.
The Rock. Uncharted 4 is gonna have a new composer, Henry Jackman. No word on why Greg Edmondson didn't come back to store the game.
Yeah, that's really weird. That news
just broke a day or two ago. This fucking game, it sounds cursed. Like they've lost half the creative team. They got pushed back. I'm surprised you didn't put this in the news. It got delayed again. They could push it back another month. It's just like, man, I feel so conflicted about this game because it's just. I'm
kind of really surprised because the general internet attitude I've seen from people about this game too is like most people don't even care about this game, at least in terms of like everyone's like, well, Uncharted, like everyone seemed to have their fill after Uncharted 2, at least online from like looking at NeoGAF and other like online forums and even listening to podcasts. I'm really kind of like, because I'd be down if Uncharted, like I could be down for another Uncharted 4. Uncharted 3 wasn't necessarily that great compared to the other games in the series.
I think a lot of people were like you; they were kind of burned by Uncharted 3.
And I'm kind of surprised because like I'm used to you loving Uncharted, and I'm kind of the one who's kind of ambivalent about Uncharted since 3. But compared to everyone else in the world, I'm like the Annie Maloney, where I'm like, yeah, I'd like to play another Uncharted. And
see, my thing is that I'm actually continuing to play the Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection, and playing the old ones. I really I'm kind of thirsty for that kind of game right about now. But I, as a fan, I can't help but feel so apprehensive because there's been so much attrition, and not just Amy Hennig, the creator and creative director of Uncharted, left, but like half the art team and half the development.
Although
team.
You can make the argument that Uncharted 3 was so bland that they could use a shakeup. So who knows? Maybe Uncharted 4 will be the best game.
It's like I don't know. But on the other hand, the thing that Uncharted has always suffered from is that there's a set piece and then they just kind of build stuff around the set
Exactly.
piece.
Yeah.
So now you have not only that history, you also have literally a new team in with half done pieces that they now have to build a new thing around.
I'm super
It's
furious
like,
because like they've never gotten back to me about the fan fiction idea for Uncharted 5 I keep on throwing at them, which is Nathan Drake gets shrunken down and he has to explore Elaine's body like as like a tiny dwarf thing, but it's like this whole erotic like giantess thing that I even sent them concept art and they won't.
I'm mad. I'm gonna ignore all of that. I'm mad because this means that Neil Druckmann and Bruce Staley aren't doing what they should be doing, which is working on Last of Us 2. And with Ellie as the protagonist. That's the real shame here.
They could be. I don't know. I wonder. People have pointed out maybe it's entirely possible Greg Edmonds just followed what's her face to
Amy
work on
Hennig?
this. Yeah, Amy Hennig to work on the Star Wars game.
Yeah, she took a lot of her creative team with her. Like, obviously, the most obvious example is that originally Troy Baker's character in Uncharted 4 was played by Todd Stanwyck.
Yeah.
And and Amy Hennig took him with her, and he's actually one of the co-writers and implied is going to be an actor in it. And that's why there's this dude who looks a lot like Todd Stanwyck with Troy Baker's voice coming out of it in Uncharted 4.
Yeah,
I am so apprehensive about this damn game. Like, I love Uncharted and I love Naughty Dog and I trust them. And everything I've seen so far gets my heart in my throat in the best kind of way. But there's clearly so much heartache and so many people who created things that I love were caused so much pain in this project that I can't help but cringe even thinking about it.
I can like Naughty Dog's already come out and said this is going to be the last Uncharted game, at least for them, and I can totally see why they might be like really glad just to be done with Uncharted finally, and just kind of like, okay, let's move on to something else that doesn't have quite such a loaded history to it, and let's really actually build something new.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway,
the other thing, like looking up Greg Edmondson's IMDb profile to see if he's announced, like if he is working on anything with Amy Hennig or anything like that. He doesn't seem like he's worked on anything for the last couple of years, so it sounds like he must be working on some kind of big secret project that he can't talk about yet. But looking at his past, not only Greg Edmondson, his two big claims to fame are the fact that he's the Uncharted composer and he scored Firefly, but he wrote music for a whole bunch of episodes of King of the Hill. Which in retrospect, that totally makes sense. I was like, oh man, get a Greg Edmondson. And also King of the Hill's awesome. King of the Hill music is awesome. Go Greg Edmondson. That's fucking hilarious. Yeah. I'm looking forward to the what's the main theme of Uncharted that always plays on the title screen? I look forward to that being played on kazoos in the new game. Just like some guy whistling.
And as we speak, this year's Awesome Games Done Quick Steamathon has just gotten underway, this time benefiting the Previn Cancer Foundation.
Also, man, my fucking typing skills hit the shit. So I actually typed in benefarting and Google Documents kept that, but also prevent. It should be the Prevent Cancer Foundation.
All right.
As opposed to like Causing Cancer Foundation. So Awesome Games Done Quick. We've talked about this before in the past. They're a bi-yearly, biannual, twice a year thing where it's so in the winter it's always Awesome Games Done Quick, where they do like a week long of 24/7 streaming of classic video games. Not even classic, no. I think this year the first game they started streaming with was Splatoon, but it is a lot of classic old 8-bit and 16-bit stuff. But they do mix in some newer games. And if you watch the stream, you can donate. During the winter, it's always a cancer benefit. During the summer, when it's Summer Games Done Quick, it's always benefiting. Was it Doctors Without Borders? I think.
Is it not just speedruns? Is it just gameplay?
It's usually speedruns, although depending on who's playing what game. Sometimes it's just one guy doing a speedrun. Sometimes it'll be multiple people racing each other through a game.
Well, that's why I'm surprised that it opened with Splatoon.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing is how quickly people can break games.
Well, how do you speedrun Splatoon? Isn't it just
there is a single player component? It's not really talked about that much, but there is like a 4-hour campaign in that game.
Okay, all right, less confused now.
And it is, some games are more easily broken than others, so sometimes it really is. You're just pretty much just watching someone play the game as fast as possible. Other games, like if you watch, like, I'm going to be out of the theater, so I'm going to miss it, but like they're going to have Super Mario 64 today, which it's fun to watch that, but it's not like watching someone play the game because like people are flying through walls and it gets really abstract. It's not like watching somebody play the game normally, but it's just, you always kind of see cool stuff because it's a bunch of nerds getting together. There's always, the fair share of guys who can't talk, like Bill. Just kind of like who can barely communicate, who are all just like really kind of sullen just playing the game, but occasionally you do get really funny, great people. Sometimes they're actual ladies who show up. So it's not a total sausage fest, even though it's 95% a sausage fest. There's at least there's a lot of minorities at least, but yeah, Awesome Games Done Quick is still, it's fun to watch. It's always good. The people who host it try to do a good job of making it as entertaining as possible. Usually when you're contributing to Awesome Games Done Quick, you're donating money, but usually depending on which game you're donating during, you also get registered for, like, everyone donates. Actually, I should donate some artwork to those guys to give away as donation rewards. Because you might get free games or like fan art posters or kind of crazy shit like that. Or I don't know. It's a good thing. Awesome Games Done AGDQ. It's always good times.
Yeah, I haven't I'm not necessarily into streaming stuff, and I'm not necessarily into speedruns or anything like that. Though I admire the idea behind them, and like the idea of breaking something through gameplay is interesting. But it's funny this should be happening now, and I wasn't aware of it because just yesterday I'm battling a cold. And I sat down on my sofa all day yesterday. I was watching Devs Play, which is something that Two Player Productions does with Double Fine, where they did a first season and now they're working on a second season where they, it's usually someone from Double Fine talking to a developer about a game as they play through the game. And just yesterday I watched in season 1, they did a Devs Play of Psychonauts. So they had a lot of the Psychonauts team from Double Fine sitting in a room as a speedrunner broke their game and did a speed run of the game in front of them. And
I still haven't seen that, but that sounds awesome.
It was one of my favorites, and it was a really, really fun watch. This poor guy was so nervous and also kind of an asshole.
What, the actual streamer guy?
Yeah, he was. He was very nervous. I could see how he would be nervous in that situation, but it was pretty funny. Yeah. But
which is kind of funny because sometimes actually on AGDQ you will actually get developers phone in. And what was it? I think it was like some of the Donkey Kong Country guys last year. They phoned in. They're like, "Oh yeah," like they had one of the programmers who kind of phoned in. Oh, and they're like, "Oh, you found that glitch? Shit. Okay, that is famous." Because the guys who work on games don't usually like watch people streaming their games. So this, like, there was a couple guys like tuning in for the first time, going, "Oh wow, you really broke our fucking game." So yeah, it's pretty funny stuff. So yeah, that's if you get bored, if you have access to Twitch, man. If you just want to watch people play video games for the next straight week, you can. It's pretty fun.
Well, friends, thank you for joining us on this wintry Sunday with the Boy Howdy podcast. So it may not be wintry or Sunday when you're listening to this.
Yeah, if you happen to live in Portland, people have pointed out that outside right now it looks like The Last of Us out there. The snow level from The Last of Us.
Pal Brendan Atkins is just like, yeah, it's the snow level from The Last of Us. He's not wrong, my friend. Well, friends, we'll be back next week to talk to y'all about some more pop culture garbage. As always, we're boyhowdypodcast.com, at boyhowdypodcast on Twitter. You can holler at us. Bill is on Tardy to the Party podcast, tardypodcast.com.
Tardypodcast.com.
That got me. And we'll be back next week to talk to y'all about more horseshit.
We're Annie and I are gonna have some interesting conversations about Carol and the Hateful Eight. I'm sure it'll be wow.
I will say I will probably have all my thoughts in the Lady Like Book Club Carol episode, and once I get here, I'll be all tapped out.
Because you're gonna see Carol and Hateful Eight at the same place. Why not just do a double feature?
God, because I want to be able to go outside and smile afterwards.
I was gonna say, you go see the Hateful Eight, and then you go upstairs to see Carol afterwards. Is a nice palate cleanser.
5-hour movie death march. That does not sound like
they got bathrooms there. You can pee in a cup.
Boy. Okay. All right, kids. We'll talk to y'all next week.
Take care, guys.
All right, my friend. Just under. Sorry, we're a little later than you wanted to be.
No. We're still 10 minutes behind noon. I'm just gonna go take a shower and get ready for stuff. It's definitely no problem.
All right, pal. I will send you my MP3 and enjoy Star Wars.
Oh, that's funny. Jenny Mundi just tweeted at Brendan Atkins. I just remember how much I want to play that game because of how much Spoonie talks it up on her podcast. She just tweeted at Brendan Atkins about that.
Yeah, I just saw that.
I love everyone. Oh yeah, like I said, I'm not going to be editing until later on, so take your time getting audio files to me and stuff.
Yeah. All right, my friend. I will talk to you next week, pal.
Yeah, thank you so much, and good luck with the Lady Luck book club stuff today. I hope it all works out fine for you.
I think we're gonna cancel and do it later this week because I'm sick and the weather is gross.
Because that was really I need to go back and listen to your actual Price of Salt podcast too. So
yeah.
Okay.
All right, dude. Thank you as always for being the organizer and the editor of our garbage. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Oh wait. Oh, you already stopped recording. Shit.
I did.
Okay. I'm gonna add on a little thing. It just turns out the cinematographer guy just died. So anyway. Okay. I'm gonna shut up and let you go.
All right, Bill. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, take care, guys.
Bye.
Six-second resolution. Take some time for yourself this year from someone who doesn't need it. Using magic, don't ritually murder anyone. Six-second resolution. Take some time for yourself this year from someone who doesn't need it. Using magic, don't ritually murder anyone. Six-second resolution. Take some time for yourself this year from someone who doesn't need it. Using magic. Yeah.